rebuilding. A catastrophic failure, a new start. Physically, mentally, our careers, our businesses. Step back, first step, next step. The driver in me just wants to get it done tomorrow. We'll do this, do that, let's move this, where are we at with this? You build some confidence, build some self-esteem, start to feel better about yourself. The Silverback Blueprint Podcast, a show for men over 40. We focus on getting stronger, staying motivated, building discipline, creating a community, and becoming truly happy. Hey guys, and welcome to the Silverback Blueprint. Prepare for the storm. You know, one of the things I'm liking to doing, I'm enjoying doing, or I'm finding enjoyable, I don't know, that kind of came out weird, but that's some classic podcasting right there, is, with some of the messages that I'm trying to put out with the podcast is sometimes, I can come out just straightforward and say, hey, this is what I think, and this is, when shit's like this, it's like this. But every once in a while, I like to use some analogies and something that we can sort of use to help us better understand a concept. So today I want to use a storm and preparing for a storm as is our way of telling our little story, our little tale today, right? Was it Gilligan's Island? Remember that? What's that? I can't remember how that song goes, but Gilligan's Island. Anyway, shipwreck, whatever, that kind of stuff. But if we look at life and we look at it in the way of metaphors and meanings and we look at something in one way and see how that carries over to our lives and what we're dealing with, right? So when we look at how we deal with life and stress and things that come up, I like visualizing a storm. So at the end of the day, what we talk about is being prepared for a storm, because the storms will always happen in nature as in our lives, right? So like in nature, all of a sudden forces can come up upon us, sometimes out of the blue, and sometimes we can see these forces coming in our lives. Like we know that something's going wrong, or we have a feeling, or we can see that things are unfolding before us that could become tense or stressful. So like a storm, we either know what's happening or it lands upon us, right? We either get caught off guard or we see it happening. And that's the one thing about storms, is that the only thing about a storm that's predictable is its unpredictability, right? So you can be cruising along, having a great old day, and then one phone call could potentially change your entire outlook of your day, your week, your month, your life, right? And one of the things we want to know is that sometimes we can predict them coming, and sometimes we can't. But we do know that when a storm, sets upon us, there's certain things we have to do to survive that storm. We know that the better prepared we are, right, the easier it's going to be to weather what's happening. See how I used the word weather in the storm thing? See what I did there? I'm a fucking wordsmith. If we know that it's going to be cloudy and thunderstorms and rain, stuff like that, then we know we got to do things like, maybe around the house, put away the patio furniture, or make sure there's not stuff that can fly around, right? If it's a severe storm, maybe we have to board up windows. Maybe we have to gather water in case we lose power or things like that. Have candles ready, have flashlights ready, right? Well, our lives are the same thing, right? Part of it is in becoming just better prepared overall as a human, as an adult, to be ready for when these things happen, so that when it does strike, we can go into crisis management, storm management, rather than sit there and just be flailing around and being thrown around by the wind, right? There's going to be times where we need to be able to take cover. There's going to be times where we're going to have to look at how do we avoid an oncoming storm. And there's going to be times where we just have to bunker down, take shelter, and ride that storm out. And isn't that exactly how, life can throw things at us? Right? If we don't have a plan, if we're not sitting there trying to make ourselves better prepared mentally, physically, spiritually, financially, then we're at the mercy of anything that comes our way. Right? Like we'd said before, is that, we're going to have a great day if all the stars are lining up, and we're going to have a horrible day if something's going sideways. And we don't want to be in a position where all these outside external forces are dictating our state of mind, our mindset, our quality of life, our happiness, right? And our purpose, working towards our purpose. So the more that we can get better prepared, the tougher we can become. And the better we get at dealing with a storm, an issue, a calamity, adversity, right? The easier it's going to be on us. The easier we're going to come out on the other side of the storm relatively unscathed, right? And if we do have some damage, right, we understand that that's just what happens with storms, and we move on and we rebuild, right? And that's kind of the thing that I thought was really cool, is if we could just have that visual of a storm and getting prepared for it. You know, at the end of the day, if we have the resources at the ready, then we don't have to worry about losing a job, right? We don't have to worry about a sudden tax audit. We don't have to worry about the car all of a sudden needing a new muffler, because we have money put aside for that. Or we've taken good maintenance of a vehicle or of our property and stuff. We don't wait until things go completely off the rails before we do something about it. We don't wait till we've gained 100 pounds before we decide that, hey, maybe I should just start eating a little bit better. Right? And I think if we learn to look at things that way, if we treat our lives sort of like that's in a story mode sometimes, where we're just really out there moving towards, we're the hero in our movie, we're the hero in our story, and it's about getting to the other side. It's about, you know, being victorious in our quest, in our journey. And then understand along the way we're going to be tested. We're going to have trials. We're going to have tribulations. And what we want to do is get smarter with each one that we go through. Get better at dealing with it with each one that we go through, right? As we get older, we have to deal with or worry about health issues. Well, we know this. This isn't magic, and this isn't like, oh, well, no one ever told me. We know that the healthier we are, right, we dramatically lower the risk of disease, of injury, right, of sickness. It doesn't mean that we can completely avoid it all the time, but however, if we can really reduce the potential of these things happening, isn't that our responsibility? Because at the end of the day, it's up to us what kind of life we lead and the quality of the life we lead. You know, we're talking about staying healthy by something as simple as walking for 10 or 15 minutes a day, maybe not pounding back 4 bottles of booze every night, right? Not pulling back a pack and a half of smokes a day, right? Read a little bit, meditate a little bit, sit down and figure out what's important to us, and then go after methods of making those things better relationships, right? Better scenarios. So we have to do a little bit of work, right? We have to prepare. It's like an animal that prepares for hibernation. It spends its entire existence getting ready for the season, the winter season. Watch a squirrel, watch a bear, watch those kind of animals that know that there's a certain time of year where they have to get everything ready, because for months there is no food, or there's very little food, so they got to work on squirreling it away. And that's their primary purpose when they're awake and times are good. That's what they do, is they're preparing for when times aren't good. And that's what we need to be doing, right? We need to make sure that we stay on top of our bills so they don't get ahead of us. We don't live beyond our means. And if we find we're living beyond our means, then we have to turn around and do 2 things: cut back on our spending or increase our income. But what if we sat there and from the get-go, or the moment we realized that's an issue for us, that we just started better preparing, we started spending smarter. And at the same time, we looked to find other ways to increase our income. Because what else are we going to do with our time? What else are we really doing? You know, when you sit back and you look at things, if you're not doing anything to make yourself better, your situation better, if you're not moving towards your end game, if you don't have a purpose in your life, then all you're doing is getting blown around in the wind. And you know what? No one honestly is happy in that situation. No one honestly is fulfilled in that situation. So one of the things I want to get at through this podcast is I understand that we're going to run into shit. But the better prepared we are, and the better conditioned we are, and the tougher we are, and the smarter we become, if we can avoid some of these situations, we do it. I don't mean hide from them. I mean just don't put ourselves in a situation where we're going to be under undue stress and drama. That's our responsibility to do that. But however, if we're in a situation where we just have to deal with something something has to be dealt with because it's right in front of our face, has to be dealt with, or it crosses a line that we have for ourselves, for our own standards, where, hey, I can't let this go on, I have to deal with it, well, then we have to make sure that we've also toughened our bodies up, toughened our minds up, right? Created better filters so that we don't overreact emotionally and we try to stay focused on what the issue is, at hand and what it really is, not what it feels like it is, right? Not looking at it through filters of fear and fatigue, but looking at it through filters of, hey, logic, problem solving, right? Better understanding of ourselves and the situation that we're moving at. We're going to be able to weather that storm better. We're going to be able to get through to it on the other side, hardly even affecting us, right? And that's really what we got to do. We have to prepare our body, we have to prepare our mind, and we have to prepare our resources, because you know what, guys? More storms are coming. Life will always do that. Again, predictable. One of the most predictable things about life is that we're going to have chaos put in front of us. It's up to us how much chaos, how much needless chaos, and then it's up to us how we deal with that chaos and what we learn and what we grow from that. We talked about earlier is it's our scars that make us who we are. It's our scars that make us beautiful. It's surviving, the tests and the trials and the tribulations put out in front of us. But let's not just go fucking look for unnecessary trials and tribulations. It's okay to have a peaceful existence once you start to get your things organized. And again, never from the point of hiding or avoiding, right? But from the point of being smart, navigating, and then dealing with things properly and being in better control of ourselves, of our emotions, right? And being true to ourselves and being good to people around us. To me, that's how we should deal with a storm. And that's what I'm trying to endeavor to do all the time, is get better at dealing with these storms. All right? Is it easy? Of course not. It's not easy. Not at first. But neither is being put in front of a storm over and over again, because that's not easy. That takes a wear on the body. That takes a wear and tear on the spirit and on the soul. Right? When things are going well and you're working hard for whatever you're doing and stuff comes up, it's hard enough as it is. Right? Let's not put ourselves in unnecessary harm's way and unnecessary drama, because there's enough already that we have to deal with overall. So again, guys, picture that storm, right? And think about it. And how do we navigate that storm? And you know what? Maybe we're the storm, and maybe we're the ones that are causing grief for other people too, right? That's the kind of shit we need to stop as well too. Guys, that's all I have to say about that today. Prepare for the storm, guys. Get shit done. And as always, guys, work hard, motherfuckers. Head on over to iTunes. Leave us a 5-star rating, a super positive review. Don't forget to head over to hostilegear.com. Use the code Silverback. Save 20% on storm-resistant hoodies so that you're also fashionably prepared and warm and cozy with whatever you have to deal with. And I'll talk to you guys later. Hey, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's podcast episode. If you haven't already got your new Work Hard Motherfucker t-shirt, head on over to hostilegear.com. Save 20% using the discount code Silverback and get that bad boy on your back. It looks good. It's slightly offensive. It's a great message. Don't wear it to church, but wear it to any family function. I'll talk to you guys later.